morning. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. Great. Thank you. So just out of curiosity, how many people know what the word Viv means and why we chose it to represent the company? Yes, that's right. It means life. And we're going to use this technology to breathe life into the inanimate objects and devices of our life through conversation. So that's kind of where we're headed with this. So roughly every 10 years, a new paradigm comes along that changes the way we interact with computers. Well, we don't think it's a secret what that next paradigm is going to be. And we're not alone. Pretty much every major technology company is now investing billions of dollars in the intelligent assistant space, right? This is a race to the single interface for the user. But we think lost in kind of a lot of the noise around this area, around assistants and bots and agents, is a really important question. How do we take today's basic technologies and transform them experientially to something that's a true paradigm shift? Well, we've come up with a list that we think is an essential aspects of what this experience is going to take to go to the next level. First of all, one assistant. You really just want one assistant, right? You don't want to have to look and think about which service providers you're going to be using to ask what questions, what kind of commands that they require. You really just want to ask, right? If you think app overload is a big deal today, wait until you're looking at a hands-free device that has 800 bots and trying to figure out how to ask this thing something. Okay, this doesn't scale. The other thing is, you want it to be personalized to you. You want your assistant to learn from you. You want it to learn your preferences. You want it to know whether you like aisle seats or window seats when you're on a plane. Or once it learns about your food preferences, you want it to be able to find you a restaurant in an unfamiliar area. You also want it to know all of these things regardless of what device you're talking to, right? So this needs to transfer over. You don't want to have to start over every time that you have a different device. You don't want to have to start the entire process of teaching your assistant about you and so on. But I think the most important part about this is that no one company in the world has the resources to plug in every one of the different services that you might want to use with your assistant. And that's what Viv has spent a whole lot of time and money on, is perfecting this third-party ecosystem. And we think this is going to be the crucial thing that takes it from today's versions that each do something like 20, 30 different things to doing hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of things. So without further ado, let's meet Viv. Now, a couple of notes. We're talking to pretty much all of the major companies around the world to put Viv on all different types of devices. But today I'm going to show it to you on a phone. It's a pretty rich experience. And the other thing I wanted to note was that Viv's audible voice is something we're still working on, so you're not going to hear that today, but it'll certainly be there when the product comes. All right. So Viv as a platform is built so that developers can come in and make things quite easily and create experiences that are fairly straightforward in a short period of time. But it also has the capability of allowing developers to create much more complex experiences. And so what I'm going to do here is use a few weather examples to start it off, to show you sort of the spectrum of what it can do. So starting on sort of the basic. What's the weather like at home today? Right? Pretty straightforward. Our friends from Weather Underground get it. Pretty straightforward type of a query. But let's ratchet it up a little bit. Was it raining in Seattle 3 Thursdays ago? Right, so great, Weather Underground to the rescue again. But as you can see, Viv has a much stronger understanding when you can teach it and develop the natural language aspects of it. And I'm going to take another even bigger leap to sort of a question that you might not ask actually, but just to show you a little more of the power. Will it be warmer than 70 degrees near the Golden Gate Bridge after 5 p.m. the day after tomorrow? Okay, so this is a pretty sophisticated query. Very few assistants in the world do stuff like this, but this is where Viv can be trained up by developers. So with that, let's go behind the scenes. Let me show you a little bit about how this works. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the Viv Developer Center. This is a place where developers will go and develop new apps and teach Viv new things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load one of the queries that I did earlier. I'm going to run that. And then we are going to open the curtains a little bit and take a look at what's going on inside. So it looks fairly straightforward here, but there's actually something pretty extraordinary going on. So the first thing that we do is we have our friends from Nuance, who we're using for our speech recognition today, turn the sounds into words. Then you can see we have a very sophisticated natural language understanding, and that generates something called an intent. But then here's where the magic comes in. So we've got a new technology that we've been working on patenting, and it's a computer science breakthrough called dynamic program generation. So when it understood the intent of the user, it generated this program. So this is software that's writing itself. And this is a really important aspect of scaling the assistant, because every other platform like it has a program manager that says we're going to do movies or we're going to do something else. They lay it out and they program exactly what happens when you say some query related to some domain. It's hard-coded, but that doesn't scale. This is a dynamic program that in 10 milliseconds writes itself, that creates an execution program that goes out and ties the pieces of the services that you need, generates the dialogue, generates the layouts, does everything that happens after the intent. Let me show you one more example. So here's another query that I did earlier. Now you remember this one a minute ago. Much more sophisticated. Again, in 10 milliseconds, Viv wrote a 44-step program that figured out all of the details around the context of the fact that Golden Gate Bridge is a point of interest and when the day after tomorrow is, connecting all of the services in mind. It's pretty incredible technology. And so that's a little bit of what goes on behind the scenes. All right, you guys ready to have a little fun? Yeah. All right. What I'm going to do now is show you where we put our emphasis on the initial development of this. This is something we call conversational commerce. So the goal here is how easy can you make it to get things done by talking to things, right? So let me give you a few examples. Send Adam $20 for the drinks last night. Okay, our friends from Venmo come up. It knows who Adam is. It knows what it's about. We're going to go ahead and send that. That's it. It's done. Adam's got his money. One sentence, and it's done. Let me continue. Send my mom some flowers for her birthday. Our friends from ProFlowers come up with some beautiful arrangements here, but, well, she is a tulip lover. Let's try that. What about tulips? Great. So some beautiful arrangements here. I'm going to go ahead and do that. knows where my mother lives, seamlessly puts all that together, and we'll go ahead and buy that.